Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session here today. Today we're going to be talking about what's new in GP and also talk about some pro tips and different things that you can start utilizing in your software today that you've got access to and can help you make things a little bit easier to use. So our overview for the session, we're going to start by just talking about the GP update cycle, when you can expect those updates to happen and how often. Then we'll dive into talking about the new features within Dynamics GP, specifically version 18.7. Then we'll talk about how you can improve or how to help improve GP. Um, Finally, we'll kind of wrap up with talking about our pro tips and tools that you have available. And then the last thing is just talking about how to stay up to date and where to keep up to date with that information. So a little bit about myself. My name is Kyle Rehome. I am a senior consultant here at Stoneridge Software. I've been working with Dynamics GP for over 12 years, most of that in the consulting space. I work with small projects, break fix cases, everything that is out there. I do really enjoy building custom reports and fixing the bad data that can happen in GP. And just an exciting thing about me, in just a couple weeks, I'm heading out to Disney World. My wife and I are taking our 2-year-old son so he can meet all the characters that he watches on TV and reads in his books. So we're looking forward to that. Our first topic here is about the Dynamics GP update cycle, and I'm sure a lot of folks have already seen this or are aware of it, but it's important to look at. So Dynamics GP releases 3 updates a year. Sometimes it's more. The main one that we'll see is in October. That's kind of the big update release that happens each year where we're going to see the most changes and the most improvements come out. There is a small update in December. This is usually around year-end payroll taxes and things like that. Or if you're doing Canadian payroll, that's where that update is released. And then there's also a small update in June of just kind of regulatory things and things to get updated. It's important to note here, this image that we see, this is talking about the GP life cycle. Everyone is hopefully aware that GP will be receiving its last updates for regulatory updates in 2029, and then emergency updates in through 2031. So as long as you're on kind of the most recent version of GP, so if your versioning is 18 dot something, then you're kind of on the mainline branch. As I mentioned, 18.7 is our most recent version, and so if you're within 2 versions of that, you're still current. So 18.5, 18.6 are good. If you're older than that, definitely consider updating to be on that most recent version. With that in mind, what sort of things have we seen new in GP here in version 18.7? This was released in October 2024, so it was kind of the large flagship release for last year. And there's a lot of things that were included in that. Overall, we're not seeing major sweeping changes or huge new functionalities, but a lot of what we see are, quality of life improvements and improvements to things that folks are using every day. And we'll talk a little bit more later on how you can, potentially get those included in future updates. So one thing that we see is the ability to now reprint the EFT payment register. So previously, if you didn't print that report at the time of processing EFT payments, you were kind of out of luck, and that was that. Now we added functionality to be able to reprint that. With the changing of vendor class. So if you ever do changes to a vendor and their class, you would be given a prompt, and the default for that, when you would make that change, the default suggestion was to roll down all those changes within the class to all the vendors there. And now that's not the case because you could make very large changes to your vendor structure. So now when you do change a vendor class, it'll default prompt you to not roll those down, but you still have the option to do that. Purchase orders, a really simple thing that you might not have noticed, but the option to delete a line on a purchase order was not showing. So they've made updates to the interface to make sure you can see that when you're working with a purchase order. They've added some new word templates for the currency bank form, and several other reports. So we'll talk a little bit later about emailing out of GP, and that's where those Word templates really come into play. So they're adding those extra Word templates, which means you have more options for emailing documents. In the world of payroll, they added a cool feature for a monthly maximum on your deductions and benefits. And one way this is really helpful is in a scenario where you're paying out benefits, say on a weekly basis. You've broken down the monthly premiums to those weekly amounts, but in those weeks or those months where you have more than 4 payrolls or something like that, you typically would have to go through and turn off those deductions or benefits for that specific pay run. Well, now you can set that monthly maximum that says, keep taking that deduction up until this monthly amount. So then if my last payroll of the month, we've already exceeded that amount, it'll automatically stop and you don't have to change anything with that payroll process. And the last one to highlight here, within the report or the navigation lists, you have the ability to mass email from those navigation lists. So this is really nice, when you are working with purchase orders, sales orders, things like that, where they might not all be in the same batch, or maybe it's a type of document that doesn't have batch emailing. You can go through and select those to email out. So I know I recently worked with a customer where we did that with receivables invoices. So they were able to post all their receivables invoices and then go back through and email those after the fact. That was really nice to have that feature available. And again, this isn't exhaustive of all the features that are out there. Or that were included. There are a lot more, but these are just kind of the highlights. And we'll talk a little bit later about where you can go to see the full list of changes and stay up to date on those as new things do come out. So now, if there are things in GP that aren't working for you or that you'd like to see, or maybe just don't make sense, how you can improve Dynamics GP is through the Experience portal on Microsoft's website. This is actually where most of the changes to Dynamics GP are coming from nowadays, is that these user submitted feedback and reported issues. You could go and fill out a new feedback item or report a new issue, and then you can also go and vote on the feedback and the issues that are important to you. So this is exactly where Microsoft and their development team is looking for when they're looking to make updates to Dynamics GP. So those feedback items that get the most votes and have the most activity and discussion around them are going to be the ones that we see in GP. So it is something that you can directly control if there's still improvements that you want to make to the software. Now, let's talk a little bit about things in GP that you have access to. They're part of your licensing, but you just may not be using. The first one is the electronic banking modules. So this kind of encompasses a lot of different things in GP, and with modern technology, a lot of banks and organizations want to see payments happen electronically. The physical written checks and things like that are kind of going away. So things that you have access to in GP that can be set up. Electronic bank reconcile. So this is a configuration where you can take a downloaded file from your bank, essentially a downloaded bank statement, load that into GP, and then have GP automatically mark off transactions for reconciliation when you start your bank rec process. Safe pay or positive pay is another one that's pretty common. This is after you generate payments within GP, you can create a file that you then upload to your bank so that the bank can verify, yes, we know that these payments did get generated. And then as people try to cash checks, if they weren't cleared through the positive pay or safe pay system, then the bank won't clear them or won't cash them. There's also EFT processes within both vendors and customers. I think the vendor one is much more popular, where you can make electronic payments within GP, where you kind of go through the same process of your normal payment generation, but you choose to create an EFT batch. You've got the vendor's banking information stored within GP, and then at the end of that process, GP generates the file that you can then upload to your bank to initiate those electronic payments. Direct deposit, ACH, this is for payroll. I think a lot of folks that are in payroll are probably using this because that's where it's most common. So we have that ability to configure those ACH and NACHA files. And then there's also credit card processing within GP. This is more for like company credit cards, where an employee has a credit card that they use for purchases. You can set it up to where when you make a payment within GP, you say it's a credit card payment. So then GP essentially takes that balance for the vendor and transfers it over to the credit card vendor. So now you're just paying the credit card vendor versus having to go through and reconcile all the individual vendors where you made those purchases. Some other areas in GP to help you improve. Workflow is a huge one, and we still continue to see improvements to this. Workflow is the ability, is an approval process for transactions and master record changes. Essentially, you can set up a hierarchy of conditions for what needs approval and who should approve it based on the transaction amount or the general ledger account that's used on the transaction or the type of information that's being changed on your vendor record. And then GP will not make those changes or allow those transactions to post until they've been approved. It's very, very convenient because you can also have those approvals be sent out via an email and then actually have links within the email to approve. So even users that aren't users within GP can get those approvals, receive them, and approve them. Similarly, and this also works with workflow, and we've mentioned it a couple other places, there's emailing functionalities within GP. So if you have a Word template set up for a report, you can send that report as an email. Dealing with vendor documents like purchase orders or customer documents like statements, you have the email where those should be sent stored within the vendor or customer record. And then as you go to print those documents, you can choose to then email them automatically. They get emailed most commonly attached as a PDF, but there's other file type options. You can include documents that you have attached within GP to that email. So if you have a scanned copy of the purchase order, then you can attach that and have that be included in the email that you send out. And a lot of other options, your vendor remittances. If you're doing vendor EFT, you can email that remittance statement that says, here's the payment that you should be expecting and here's what we paid. All sorts of things like that. So the email functionality in GP is quite robust now. It works with Microsoft 365 and the modern authentication processes there. Just a little bit of configuration that you have to do to get that to work in your system. But once it's all set up, it's very, very streamlined. Now that we've kind of talked about, the updates in GP and the new tools that you could be looking at, just how do we make sure we keep up with it all going forward? As I mentioned earlier, try to stay current with your GP versioning, even if you are planning to transition off of GP in the near future. Keep those updates going so you get all these new features and stay compatible. Try to be within those 2 version numbers. Similarly, in a similar vein, make sure you develop your plan for your future with GP. We all see the dates that are out there. Figure out what you want to do and, have conversations with us here at Stoneridge about that. If you want to find the newest features and updates, I've got a link here in the presentation to the What's New section from Microsoft. That'll go through all the versions, not just 18.7, but everything, going back several years. Also, keep an eye on Stoneridge's blog posts. You can subscribe to the blog, get our newsletters. So as we release new information about, what we're seeing from Stoneridge's perspective, then you'll be up to date on that. And just in the general ecosystem of Microsoft and technology, also check out our biweekly Confab live streams. It's a great place to just hear what's going on in the world of technology, related to Microsoft. Lots of talk about AI. I know that's a huge thing, and I'm sure you're seeing a lot of that throughout the Connect sessions here today. So be sure to check that out as well. And that's all I have for you guys today. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen, and we'll hopefully talk to you again soon.